actually walk away having cleared this fear in your own system. And we're going to do a little whiteboard strategy and then talk about busting through some of the common blocks that hold people back from living their dreams: self-doubt, imposter syndrome, burnout, boundaries. I hope that you're starting to see that business is your personal development path. So I want you to really get that as you have a fear of rejection, that's going to show up in your sales conversation. Yes, it's going to show up in dating too. But if you have control issues, that's going to really show up and be reflected in how you delegate. Or if you feel unworthy, that will be reflected in how you price your services or how much you allow yourself to receive financially. We do the deeper work because that's what makes it click. 80% of the work is inner, and we also do outer and strategy. And it's not like, let me do the inner work and then I'll feel ready to then grow, share my gifts and grow my visibility in the world. No, we do the inner work, regulating your nervous system so you feel safe as you consistently honor the calling of your heart, sharing the work that you want to share in the world and feel really confident about the impact that you're making, starting with yourself. So I'm so happy that you are here. We're going to dive deep. And this fear of failure, I want you to really get that this will come up as you take steps to either clarify or start taking steps towards your dreams. Because anytime you have gone for something and it didn't work, you're going to be hesitant to go for it again. So that could be in business. Maybe you launched your business, you had a dream and a goal and you didn't arrive at it. Or it could even be in love. You loved deeply and you risked being vulnerable, but then you felt like you weren't met and it felt like a failure. Your marriage failed. Work with whatever's alive for you today. All of my tools you can apply to any area of your life. It doesn't matter what kind of topic or niche you focus on. These tools are about getting to the heart of what's really holding you back. And when you work in this way, I'm biased, this is my method, but when you work in this way, it's more effective. And it doesn't just support you and your clients on one level of their life and your life, it supports you in up-leveling everything else because you've worked it at the root. So it will up-level all of your relationships because you're starting with yourself. It'll up-level your health, your finances. Everything is a reflection of you doing this deeper work. So we're going to help you clear these fears so that you can really courageously stand forward in service to what it is that's alive and true for you. And so let's get out your workbook for today. Get out a pen. I want to invite you to chat and play along, whether you're on the live or the replay, so people can really see that they're not alone in this and really normalize what may be coming up. And if you have not opted in for some reason, just type Bootcamp and it will send you the workbook. But first, before we dive into that, I just want to say I'm loving hearing your wins. I want to acknowledge you for being somebody that shows up on day 5. You are more committed to than just doing the quick wins. You're actually committed to getting real results. And that commitment and that courage and consistency is what's going to help you realize your dreams. So I just want you to know that I honor you and I see you and I'm here to support you. Let's go. I'm so happy to be with you. And so since Monday, we've been doing different things. And I want to just take a pause to highlight what has been some of the progress that you've seen since Monday. It could be inner or outer, it could be big or small, but type it in the chat so that we can celebrate you. You can see yourself and you're not always being pushed by this hungry ghost of like bigger, better, faster, more. It's feeling more than enough. Yes, that I feel enough. I'm loving it. Thank you. You're so welcome. And so type in the chat. Maybe you feel more confident. Maybe you're coming from a place of like, wow, I get to do business in a totally different way. And you're feeling more inspired. Maybe you reached out to somebody or shared your work in a more visible way. I have more energy and focus. Maybe you're seeing strategies with, oh, your healing relationship with money. That's incredible. I've allowed myself to be seen and supported. Like this is the work. I feel lighter, more uplifted. Good, you guys. Some of you have been creating clients. I've arranged a whole workspace. Beautiful. I love it. So keep celebrating your progress and know that you are supported. As you do your work, life will just mirror that back. You'll be able to better serve your clients. You'll feel more energized in your business, more clear. I'm feeling more confident, already so much lighter, calmer, beautiful. Okay, good. And this is just 4 hours. This is our 5th hour. So imagine what's possible when you're in a container where you have support to go deep. Do you have the community, the teachings, the tools, the strategies that are aligned to really go to your next level? Not only with personal guidance from me, my mentor coaches, and an incredible community. If you feel called to that, we would be honored to support you. We're actively going through applications now for our accredited coach certification program. And it's really for people who are brand new, either coaches, therapists, healers, It's for leaders who want to more consciously lead their teams, their families. It's also for people that are interested in personal development work, or you're an experienced pro and you're like, I want to back higher fees and feel really confident about the work that I do for you. All you have to do is comment apply here on the live or the replay, and we'll send you the information. The first step is to apply. It doesn't commit you to anything, but that way you can start to see, and well, if you do it before Sunday, you can save $500 off. And we will be sending acceptance letters this Monday at noon, letting you know if you've been accepted. And we'll share different financing options. We'll share different payment plan options. The first down payment is $497. And again, it doesn't commit you, but if you say apply, it'll send you the information, or you can go to alyssanobriga.com/apply. And if you didn't get an email from us and you did apply, just email support@alyssanobriga.com just to make sure, so that you, because you should have gotten a confirmation email. So we want to make sure that you're held and supported. You can also DM me if you have questions. I'm here to support you every step of the way. We not only help you do the inner work, and it's not just inner and then outer, it's inner as you go along the way. So you actually create clients healing anything around receiving or giving, so you feel clean and more free. And then again, you're more powerful in supporting your clients and doing the same. And so last thing that I want to remind you before we dive in, today's such a beautiful call, is that I'm going to keep the party going next week. So Monday, I'm going to open it up to coach you. Bring your coaching questions from anything over these last 5 days. Bring your questions. I'm also going to bring up some grads so you can ask them your questions directly. I want you to be able to hear from them, different stories, different experience levels, and so that you can really feel more clear and supported. So Monday at 10 on IG. And then Wednesday, I'm going to share with you strategies. It's more practical strategies for how do you create income, whether you're a coach or not, so that you feel empowered. I never want you to say, I can't afford something. You always have choices. And I want to coach you into your resourcefulness, because that will support you as an entrepreneur and as a human in life. And so rather than I can't, I want to coach you into I can or I choose not to, from your power. That's what's going to change the game for you. So we're going to dive into that on Wednesday, 10 a.m. on Instagram. Okay, fun. So let's dive in. I have several questions. Come Monday, I got you. It'll be great. So write down in the chat, what is your vision for this year? What is it that you really want? How much do you want to make? Claim it, get specific. The ego stays very vague. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little whiteboard strategy, and it'll probably bring up some stuff so that we can move through some of that inner stuff. Expect it. You want to be designing your packages for your clients to move through those things so that you don't think that that's bad, but you know that this is a part of your growth edge. It's part of the growing pains. When you have the right tools, it really helps you unlock it more easily. So it's only a session on Monday and Wednesday, 10 a.m. Those are 2 bonus trainings for you. Okay, $100,000 I would like to make. I'll have earned $250,000 in 2026, an extra 10K a month. Good, and we all want different things. I love your willingness to claim it, to drop it in the chat. And then we can reverse engineer something that works for you. So now because I'm coaching hundreds of you here, I want to make sure that I'm going to give you a business model. I'm going to break down some of these. And we're all at different places in our growth and what we want. Some people want to be working a lot. Some people don't. Some people want online. Some people don't want to worry about social media. And you don't have to use social media to create clients. You don't have to have a niche. So I want you to know there's different ways, but I'm going to just say 6 figures. I'm going to say $100,000, and you can play with the numbers so that it is more fitting for you, but I have to kind of put the line in the sand somewhere. So let's do this. So I got creative. So now that I have a mirror behind me, I'm going to use this to share with you a strategy. This should be accurate. Okay. So let's say you have a 3-month program, right? You have 3-month packages. This is good for you if you are somebody that's starting out coaching, healing. If you're just starting out, I find 3-month packages are great. We can get into that maybe Monday. I can tell you more. If I have more time, I'll get into coaching here. But let's say you have 10 clients and they're paying around $800 a month. That's $100,000 a year working part-time, 10 clients a year. Okay. Can you see that? And you can do this for a one-to-one client. You can do this like you just want to work with one-to-ones. It's a lot easier to get started with one-to-ones. Once you have enough one-to-ones, there are going to be people that couldn't afford your one-to-one. And then you can put those people on a wait list to start your group so that when you start your group, you already have a wait list before you've even publicly announced it yet. And so you feel good about, wow, I'm actually filling my group. And then when you go online, you're not like, I have 10 spaces. You say, half of it's already filled. If you're interested, DM me and I'll share more information. If you're online. If you're not online, then you're doing that verbally in conversation. So you can do this for one-to-one clients if you want. You can do this with groups if you're there. And you could also do this with corporate clients. Corporations have budgets for coaching. So we teach you how to do all of this in our certification program. But let's say you are a bit more experienced. You want to hold people in a longer container. You have a 6-month package. So 10 clients at $5,000 each is $50,000 a year. Okay. And if you do that twice a year, at 6 months each. And if you do that twice a year, that's 100,000. Now, Vanna White, let's say you've got a year-long package. Maybe you want to go deeper with people. Let's just say you work with 12 clients for 1 year. 12, and you can snapshot this. 12 clients for 1 year is $1,000 with $1,000 a month. That's $144,000 a year working part-time. 12 clients, $1,000 a month. Each month is $144,000 working part-time. Okay. So I want you to really get that the strategy is simple if you allow it to be simple. Sometimes that's not always the case. And so let me break it down. So I want you to really start to get that the strategy is not hard. You don't want to complicate it. And my goodness, yes. So you can start seeing that it doesn't have to be complicated, but if you don't do the inner work to regulate your nervous system, a lot of the times people will keep it chaotic. But you can screenshot that, you can go back to it. What stops most people are the inner blocks, the patterns that they project onto their business. And if you don't do that work, it creates a lot more stress and anxiety. And save your questions, because if I have time, I'll answer that. And I can also answer it on Monday. But I want you to get that people in situations don't block us, okay? The blocks are in us, and people in situations bring them out of us. And so most people think that somebody made them feel a certain way. They don't. They just evoked it out of you. So think of it like this. Think of it like you're in a house and somebody knocks on the door and your block or your trigger answers it. They evoked it out of you. And the good news about that is that you can do the work to heal it or to transform it at the root. So if someone knocks, no one's home. If you have triggers, life will find a way. If you have buttons, life will find a way to push them. And so part of this work is around really getting free enough to go there and integrate it so that you're not so stuck. And as you're doing it at the root around worth and identity, which is the heart of it, it will start to show up and reflect in every other area of your life. It's so much more effective and efficient to do it that way for yourself and to hold that space for your clients. It serves them way more. And so I want you to really get that common blocks are going to come up. So let's bust through 3 very common blocks right here, right now. So the first one is self-doubt and imposter syndrome. Type yes if this has been you, whether you're on the live or the replay. Play along so other people can see. So self-doubt can sound like, am I good enough? Can I really do this? Could this be for me? Or am I worthy, right? It can be masking worthiness as well. And I teach my students around self-worth again, because it's not just like a 1 week kind of a thing. This is about really deeply embodying your inherent worth and value, independent of anything that's happening in your business. That is powerful, and you feel way more resourceful. And oftentimes people will say, charge what you're worth. And I know that that has the best of intentions, but you could never charge what you're worth. You are priceless. Your services, on the other hand, are not. And so your fees have nothing to do with your worth. I want you to get that who you are is separate than what you do. It's separate than your business. Okay. We got to really get that. Another block that people have is they have 2 beliefs that hold them back. So I want you to watch out for this within yourself, or if you create containers for others. So one belief is that it's not possible. Question that. And it's not possible for me. Question that one as well. Because once you start to wake up out of your mind, it will start to find all the evidence and examples for how you can do it too. But if you don't question those inner things, it's going to be a lot harder to grow your business. So we're doing this work to get out of our own way. So it's more fun. It's more effective. We sustain at the success that we want, and you're more powerful than you even realized. And so I'll share with you a story about a client that I had this last year in ICM, in my certification program. I was telling her, Here's this business strategy using my 6-figure and beyond business roadmap. I said, here's the strategy based on what you're saying you want. That's really simple and easy to create clients and scale to your next level. And she wasn't listening to me. She was choosing two. She's like, I want to do social media and not social media. This is the number one block that holds the people back, is entrepreneurs is trying to do too many things at once. They dilute their potential because they're not actually successful with having focus and follow through. Focus and follow through is really important. So she wasn't listening to me. And I lovingly confronted her. Every week I bring people up twice a week to do demos with, and I coach everyone almost. And I don't usually share that publicly because I stay on a lot longer than the calls require, but it's my favorite thing in the world. So I love being there in it with you guys. So I'm on a call with her, I'm coaching her, and I could see her nervous system shaking. She was feeling confronted because I was right up against the pattern of helping her choose what was simple, what was easy. But because and if I had just told her another strategy and not helped her do the inner work, it would have confirmed this idea that she was doing something wrong, and she would have further gone into deflation and collapse. And so I just lovingly met her at showing her what was happening, that her nervous system was wired for survival, not success. That she was unconsciously choosing things that would have her sabotage her own success by trying to do it all. And you could see her start to shake. And I told her, it's not just the strategy, it's the state that you are in as you're executing it. She was going into frantic and keeping busy and making it hard because she didn't feel worthy. And as she started to really do the deeper work with me on that call right then and there, even though I told her in the program, our ego it has subtle ways to try to trick us. It was really confronting for her. And I started to help her do the deeper work to feel safe in her visibility, to feel worthy of receiving. And as she started doing that, the outer action was way more in alignment, more easy. But even if I tell you, you need the supports to be lovingly challenged and called forward so that you have the community, the coaching, the trainings, the tools to really change at the root. And, it's important that you see that these patterns get integrated in our business, but they're not just in our business, they're in our relationships too. So again, as you work it here, it will show up everywhere else. And you want to feel ease in your nervous system. You could take a big bite. You could jump in your growth. You're just going to have to do more inner work so that you feel regulated in your nervous system. Or you could take small steps. It's up to you, totally defined by what feels good for you and how fast you want to grow. But I am here for a new paradigm of how we do business, how we honor the calling of our heart to share our gifts from a place of being rooted in our wholeness, of doing the inner work along the way, because that's how we really get free. And as we do that, we feel more grounded. Things become a lot easier. We're getting out of our own way. So the second block that I'll highlight is that gets in the way of a lot of service providers, because you guys have big hearts and you care. And oftentimes, just a side note on the other thing, those who are most capable oftentimes question themselves the most because they know where they are and where they could go, but they compare where they are. So again, having the tools to not deflate yourself, looking at that gap and not feeling encouraged. We want to do the inner work. But the second one is over responsibility. Okay, this is a big one. And so I really want you to it shows up as people pleasing. It shows up as self-reliance. It shows up as hypervigilance. And when we don't have clear boundaries, we end up overextending and burning out. And you know that over responsibility is playing out when you feel bad for someone. Maybe you see them as a victim, or you try to help them and you give them a handout, or you're bending over backwards doing the work for them. What you're essentially saying is that you don't believe they can do it and you're going to do it for them. This is a bit of a hero complex. Maybe you were a parentified child, and we'll go into how this conditioning got started. But that leads to, yes, your burnout, and it also leads to them not discovering what they're capable of. People want to be called forward in what they're capable of. You don't want to create codependency on you. And so that pattern will show up with high functioning individuals, and it can tend to lead to success, but at a cost to your relationships, at a cost to your body and your overall health. And then you create codependency. Your clients don't discover what they're capable of. Part of the reason I moved from therapy into coaching was I wanted to work with high functioning individuals, empowering them with the tools to change their life. And for me to hold them in a container to go deeper than they can go on their own, so that they're empowered to do it with every other topic in their life. And my intention always is to help them go to their next level, save their time, empowering them with tools. That's part of the deeper mission and what I feel called to support in the world. And so this pattern of over responsibility, hyper self-reliance, it's a safety strategy, hypervigilance, and it can come because maybe the adults or your parents, the authority figures, you didn't trust that they could support your needs. And so you took on more than was your responsibility as a child, and you're still doing that in your adult life now. And it can show up in your business with your team, it can show up with your clients, your kids. And so when you start healing it at the root, it starts to change everywhere else. And I haven't shared a lot of examples around relationships, so I'll share one here just so you can get a sense for it. So I worked with a couple, and I used to be a couples therapist, so my two specialties are relationships and business. And again, when you're working it at the root. So I worked with a couple. This one partner was really I'll just say her wound was she didn't believe she could rely on anyone. So she went into hypervigilance, high functioning, over functioning. And of course, then she would attract a partner that was under functioning to confirm her belief that she had to do it all herself. And her partner, his patterns were that he felt criticized as a child, and he didn't then put his work out there or take greater leadership because he felt unworthy because of his childhood pattern. So he would underfunction as a safety strategy. So you can see how they're the perfect puzzle piece to call each other. And that's how I will do a whole other training about why you attract who you attract. But the problem is not them. The problem is the pattern and unconsciously playing it out. And so part of the work is to support you in understanding that you don't have to do it all on your own, or to call you for it, to feel safety, to really go for it and not make it mean anything about you, whether you're either part of the pattern. It'll show up in your business and your relationships just the same. And this is something we deeply unravel in the program around boundaries, burnout, balance, so that you are really calling your clients forward. Yes, I'm about having business models that are generous. I do this entire thing for free. This is incredibly expensive, and it's part of my mission and part of the work that I want to get out there in the world. And those that are interested will go deeper. And if not, I hope that this is served. And you can also have business models that you do sliding scale, or you let a certain amount of people in through scholarships. But where you do that from matters, because if they have a story that they're a victim and you buy into that, you're not serving them and you're going to burn out. And I want to make sure you're coming from a clean place. It's yes and. So where we're doing it from matters. And then the third one, the last one, is one of the most powerful. It's one of the most, the biggest ones that comes up for people when they identify a dream and when they start taking action. And it's the fear of failure. And it's like part of this work is about, again, if somebody said yes to a dream and they didn't feel like they made it, they're going to be hesitant. They're not going to fully go for it. And anything we haven't forgiven in the past, we unconsciously project into the future. And so forgiving ourselves for any of the judgments about who we are, what we're capable of, or what we saw in our conditioning helps free us to be more present, to be more productive, to be happier. And that's what we're going to dive into today, so that you feel like you're not letting the ego make it mean something about you. Most people, if it's unchecked, they think I'm a failure. No, you may have failed at something, but it doesn't mean anything about you. And that becomes a lot lighter when you see and you know that. And so we're going to unravel that for you today, because oftentimes it roots back to something deeper. It can be that you felt the ego's making it personal. So it's like, I didn't get the job, something must be wrong with me. But it could also root back to something simple, like I didn't get picked to be on the team. And it shows up in relationships, or you felt rejected by a parent. Failure this fear of failure is a protection mechanism. It's trying to make sure that you're not going to fail or get hurt again. It's innocent, but it holds you back from your dreams. And there's another more graceful path by really doing the inner work to get out of your own way. And remember, one of these other days I said, what you avoid, you create. If you're avoiding failure, you create it. So I've had coaches say, Alyssa, I'm doing your 7-step process for sales. I like it, but it's not converting. This happens every once in a while. And I say, did you pitch? And they don't even realize that they're not pitching. They're unconsciously not pitching because they're avoiding failure. And sometimes we can see it, sometimes we can't, but it can be sneaky. And so if they're not pitching, of course they're going to fail, but they're more, it's a protection so they don't feel that feeling. And I want you to know the feeling's not a fact. The feeling's not even hard. It's the resistance to the feeling that's hard. And I'm going to teach you what that means today and walk you through an experience so you know what I'm talking about, not just conceptual, but embodied, lived here. And when you develop your range to have a healthy relationship with failure, you know it doesn't mean anything about you. You iterate, you're playing, it feels soft and light. It's like a kid. They're just growing so fast because they're willing to be in experimentation, have a learning orientation to life. So I will share a story about a failure of my own, more vulnerably, lead in connection with you. I have a lot of failures, and one that I'll share with you is pretty big. I genuinely don't think of failure in the same way. I am willing to feel it. I'm willing to let myself feel what's here because I've learned that that actually works. But I have an orientation where it's like, how can I learn from this? Whether it's not working or it is working, I tend to iterate and try to enhance things. I like that. I'm growth oriented. But I had this experience where when I was getting licensed as a psychotherapist, it took me 10 years to honor this calling. And since I was 12 years old, I always knew that I wanted to be a healer and live in the Redwoods. But I also had this other part of me that wanted to do marketing and live in New York City. Now I do like business healing. So it makes sense now, but I just kept following the next most intelligent step. And so I didn't have any coaching examples when I was 12. And so I honored this calling to get licensed as a therapist. I went through 3 different graduate schools. They kept closing down. And I was like, no, this is what I'm doing. And I kept committing to it over and over again. And in California, where I live, you take 2 exams to get licensed. It's similar to the bar, where when you're becoming a lawyer, you study for many months and then you take this exam. And so my first exam, I passed. The second exam, I failed. And I have a learning disability in reading comprehension. I'm mild dyslexic and mild ADHD. So I'm very sensitive to learning styles. That's why I put over 1,000 hours working with a curriculum in my certification to tailor to different learning styles. I didn't even learn how I learned until college. I should have learned that a lot learn earlier. I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I learned by doing. Sign language was really easy for me. So anyway, the exam is not like, here, how do you be a good clinician? It's more about the legality of becoming licensed. So this was more about being a mandated reporter. It's very heavy, very conceptual. And I'm a slow reader. I'm not a strong reader. And so I didn't have enough time. And I got to the point of just running out of time, and I just abacazabed it and just prayed and let go. And I had failed. And it was hard for me, the failure, because it was a 10-year journey. And it was hard for me because I had stopped my life to study for this thing. After 10 years, I took 3 months just to fully focus on that one test. And failing sucked. But what was even harder was that it was the end of the year, and then the new year, they were starting a new exam. So I chose to pause my life for another 3 months. It took a while to get there. I was really questioning that one. To pause my life for 3 more months to study this and then move forward and take that exam. And I knew that that was all I had left in me. I knew that if I didn't pass that exam, that was it. Like, I would have been abandoning myself by holding on to a dream that I was also clear I wasn't going to be continuing in that profession much longer. And so I gave it my all. I had to do some inner work to get behind myself. I gave it my all, and I took the test. And I remember the envelope was in my hand. I was so nervous. And I sat down with my husband and I was like, whether I passed or failed, that envelope does not define my success. I am choosing to call this a success before I opened it because I gave it my all. I kept showing up. We were going to be confronted with challenges. And I showed up in a way that was honoring of myself, that was really committed. We were going to go through these things. And I opened the envelope and I had passed. And I just want to remind you that you write the scripts for your life. And nothing is a success or a failure if you don't define it that way. And maybe you're in the middle of your story. Maybe you're at the part of the movie where it's just about to turn, but you can use everything for your growth and your upliftment. And we don't want to go to a movie that just has like happily ever after all the time. And so you get to choose how you want to go through things, what narratives you empower yourself, what you define as success or failure. And I want to encourage you to do the emotional and somatic mastery work so you don't let these fears take you out of the game, that you can be resilient. I find that most people try to get rid of negative feelings, but that doesn't work. That just postpones them. My methodology is about embracing all of it: thoughts, feelings, sensations, behaviors. You're saying yes to what's actually here, and you start to integrate it, feeling your power. And I don't want you just to believe me, but to test it. Because as you do that, you are going to you're going to be able to stretch the capacity to be resilient, to be with different experiences and find your center, find your truth. I find a lot of people with nervous system regulation work, they think the goal is calm. It's not. The goal is your capacity to stretch, to be with. Stress isn't bad, right? Anxiety isn't bad. Anxiety is just feedback that you're in the future and you can come back to presence. It's not that it's like, how do I be with this? That can be a mantra for you. And when you question the illusion of time, you get present and not future tripping, not regret. You're here, and it's a lot easier to be with the sensation, not the story. And it starts to integrate in your nervous system. You don't feel like, it's almost like we're a puppet unconsciously living. If somebody pokes on that button of rejection and you're unconsciously like being a puppeteer and you're just being lived without actually just cutting those strings and living with more grace, I want that for you in your business if you want that. Yeah, it's about adaptability. And so I'm going to take you through this group demo so that we start to experience that for yourself. And go ahead and take out your workbook. We're going to get into this, breaking free from your fear of failure, and work with whatever's alive for you. You can bring up anything. It really doesn't matter, but work with, I want that. You're here. You're getting it. You got it. Okay. So first off, I want you to set an intention. Really just close your eyes. What is an intention that's true and alive for you? Intentions are powerful. When you're focusing on what you want, it helps your subconscious align. What's most important to you? Is it that my intention is to live with greater freedom, to heal anything that's no longer serving me with grace? Whatever it is for you, set that intention for yourself. I'm going to take you through this process. You can type it in the chat or you can just state it inside, either way. How do I be with this? Yeah, good. Can I be with this? The next thing I want you to do is I want you to write down or clarify in your heart, what is a dream that's most important to you? What's knocking at your heart that's alive, that's saying that calling is calling you forward? Again, it's not just for you. It helps you discover who you already are by removing who you're not as you answer that call. Very much hero's journey. So what is the calling that's knocking at your heart right now? Identify that for you. There's a divine design within your desire. You can trust it. As you honor it, those other things come up so that they can be cleared. You live more free. And now I want you to write down, number 3, I want you to write down what is something you feel like you have failed at, that has charge or that's heavy inside. And I want you to identify something from 5 to 8 out of a 10. So not going into big T trauma, something that's alive, but it's not the deepest thing because we're on an Instagram live and we coach and we're not doing any trauma work. Coaches are not supposed to do trauma work. You need to be trauma informed, trauma in all of your work, whether you are a healer. I mean, I think everyone should be trauma informed, but especially when you do somatic work. So just going from 5 to 8 out of 10, something that's alive for you. Maybe you felt like you failed at your marriage, your business. You should have had more sales. And I want you to write it in a way that says, I should have, or I should not have. So write it in a way that says that. And I failed at saving money. So I should have saved more money. So write it as I should or shouldn't. And you can have a few, but just circle one that feels more alive with disappointment. But again, between 5 to 8, coaches aren't trained to do trauma work. I want you to be trauma informed. That is your professional responsibility, but not big T trauma. That's for trauma specialists and licensed therapists. Okay, so find something specific. And I'll just speak to this real briefly because somebody's asking about it. So I don't work with people that have had a severe addiction. And I always train my coaches this way if it's been under 6 months, because if you're inviting somebody outside of their comfort zone, their safety strategy is to go back to that addiction. You want them to have like 6 months to a year of recovery, of healthy coping mechanisms. The addiction isn't the problem. That was a safety strategy. They want to develop new safety strategies as their go-to. So I wouldn't advise taking on somebody that's going through addiction unless they're congruently working with a therapist on their trauma and you know what's in scope and out of scope, you're very clear. Okay, so I'll answer questions about that later. And that's a whole bucket, and make sure that you are trauma informed. So I should or I shouldn't have, whatever you feel like you failed at, make sure that you write that down. I should have more clients. I should be further along. I should have been more successful by now. These are very common. Okay. So now close your eyes, be in a specific moment in your mind where you are believing this, like where you're in that memory and you're getting mindful and you're going to investigate again from that specific experience. What were you trying to avoid feeling by telling yourself that you should or shouldn't have fill in the blank? We tell ourselves stories as a subconscious way to avoid feeling something. So I tell myself that shouldn't have happened because I'm avoiding feeling regret, or I'm avoiding feeling disappointment or helplessness. What are you trying to avoid feeling by telling yourself it should or should not have happened? Find the specific feeling that you are avoiding. This is going to help you break free, because we're going to stretch the capacity to be with the feeling rather than staying locked in the avoidance in our mind. So I should be earning more money. I'm avoiding feeling my power. And I want to just check in with that one. Because if you were in your power, then what? I'm avoiding feeling shame. Thank you, Lucy. Yes. Fear of failure. That's right. Yes. Shame's a big one. I'm avoiding feeling failure. Yeah. It could be helplessness. I'm feeling rejected. Whatever it is, just identify what that is. It's important for you to get this so we can do the process. Disappointment, shame, hopelessness. Beautiful. Love. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your vulnerability. And so I'm going to guide us on a process where I'm going to invite you to just get curious with this feeling. Again, staying within your window, taking care of yourself. Let's just do this now. I'm going to guide us. Okay, go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice, slow, deep breath into your heart space and just feeling a sense of safety in your body right now. Maybe it's just the nourishment of the seat beneath you. Maybe it's the breath moving in and out. Whatever gives you a sense of safety, let yourself just feel that for a moment, breathing into that safety. And then when you're ready, if you are ready, I want to invite you to place on your body where you feel the activation of this feeling that you've been trying to avoid. Maybe it's betrayal, rejection, failure, shame. Place your hand on that part of your body, wherever that feeling is, even if it's just a trace of that feeling. And I want to invite you to just get curious. If we don't label this as an emotion, we're just going to bring our awareness into it for this moment as an experiment, like a scientist discovering what is this actually. When I'm not resisting it or judging it, I'm just breathing into it, allowing it to be here just for this moment, giving it infinite space to just be here with the breath, moving in, moving out, just saying hello as if it's a friend you've not really properly had the chance to say hello to. And as your hand is there, you're holding it with permission, with the breath, with the allowance of it being here. I want you to silently say to this energy, if this feels right for you, repeat after me. I see that I've judged you, and I'm sorry. I didn't know how to be with you before, but I'm learning how now. Thank you for arising to show me how to welcome you so that I can live free. Taking a breath, welcoming it. Thank you for arising me so you're showing me how I can welcome you and live free. Let it know you can stay as long as you want, breathing into it, saying thank you, welcoming it. And if resistance comes up, resistance is welcome too. Everything gets to be allowed in this moment without an agenda. We're saying yes. You can stay as long as you want, breathing in, receiving, allowing. You don't need to be any different than the way that you are. I love you. And with this breath, we're just saying yes, opening to the intelligence of whatever wants to happen, opening the aperture of your awareness to also just notice the walls in your room, these walls that don't mind, this energy is here. Breathing in, letting it go. Just for this moment, it gets to be allowed. as a sensation. And when you're ready, you can gently just go back in your mind's eye to look at that very specific moment where you believed you failed, be in that same situation. And I want you to ask yourself, can you absolutely know that that was a failure? Can you be 100% sure? Yes or no? And just discover that for yourself right now. Just a yes or no in your awareness, in your experience. And whatever you said is your truth. Totally fine. But I want you to visualize yourself in that same situation that we presented earlier. Nothing has changed it, but you're just suspending the idea that that was a failure. You're being there in that moment and looking again, besides what the mind was telling you. Just be there beyond the narrative that that was a failure, and just notice what opens for you. What do you notice? So nothing on the outside's changing. You're just changing your narrative and discovering what else is here. What is that like? Where's the power? Is it you? And then if you feel called, I'm going to invite you to do just a few compassionate self-forgivenesses with me. If these resonate, you can say it with me silently to yourself, okay? And you can place your hand on your heart if you'd like to hold presence and compassion, do what feels right and true for you. So I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that I am a failure. The truth is, I may have failed at something, but I am not what I do. I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that that was a failure. The truth is, the story's not over yet. I can still create a different story from this. Breathing in compassion, really letting yourself receive your own love and presence. I forgive myself for buying into the illusion that this should or shouldn't have happened. The truth is, it did happen. And the truth is, arguing with what happened won't change it. And I can choose to be loving with myself regardless. I forgive myself for buying into the misunderstanding that I should be anywhere other than where I am right now. If I'm really honest, I don't know where I should or shouldn't be. I don't know what should or shouldn't have happened. Give yourself that grace, whatever your truth is, letting yourself be flooded with your own love and compassion, letting go of any past ideas about who you are, what you're capable of. You are so much more supported than you realize. And just letting yourself feel flooded with your own compassion. Sometimes people say, well, yeah, Alyssa, I knew better, but that was one level of knowing in your mind. There are different levels of knowing. There's an emotional integration, and in your gut, a new way of being. You may have known in your mind, but you didn't know as a lived way yet. And you can be gentle with yourself. Compassion is productive. And so just letting yourself feel flooded with that, forgiving any judgments that you're not good at business or that this meant you weren't good at sales, whatever that was. The truth is, you are courageous enough to follow your heart, to experiment, and you need that to have a successful business or to follow your dreams. Just letting yourself take one last slow, deep breath in through your nose and gently letting it go, coming back here to this moment with us in this call. Beautiful work, you guys. I honor your depth and your willingness to go there for yourself. This is where you get free. We loop the forgiveness from the heart back up into the head to really state what's actually true now. And so I want you to type in the chat, what if you trusted life? What if you trusted that this was a redirect showing you where you're meant to be? So find the evidence. Sometimes it's hard to see it, but let's just open it a little bit more. Maybe it's like, maybe you didn't create that client and you have more time with your kids, and that's really precious time. Or maybe you've been spared. Maybe that client would have been really challenging and you get to avoid that, or you're not locked into certain prices or packages. Or maybe this was a failure so that you could learn to love yourself unconditionally. Not conditionally when you're winning, but to really get your worth as inherent and outside of any of the results that you create or don't create. What if this was the perfect lesson for you to really get that, not just conceptually, but from a lived, embodied way? Letting go of anything that is not serving you, you can let it go right now. That is your power, your choice. So, what if you trusted life? Then I would have missed, then you would have missed this series. It sounds like you're really enjoying it. And so, great that that happened. I'm held by something greater than me. I'm not my doing. Maybe it's part of the process to create something new. That's right. Yeah, maybe you're not locked into rates also, or that you couldn't have, that you would have outgrown really quickly, or maybe there was a lesson that you were meant to get in exactly where you are. Let's take what are the gifts from the soil that life is presenting to you right now so you can sprout. My goodness, I'm crying, my throat. Breathe into any of the energy that's here in your body. Again, the more you welcome it, the more it feels present. It's like thoughts, feelings, and sensations are like little kids. They're just looking to be allowed, and then they're off playing again. Just breathe into it, welcome it, and it feels stuck in your body a little bit. Open your awareness to move beyond your body. It'll move. And this is what I needed. I'm so happy. This is where I'm headed. That's right. I'm learning that when I'm myself, it comes to me. Beautiful. The truth is, these are coming in hot. The truth is that I get what I need out of the experience. And that's an empowered point of view that you can use everything. And so let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't like that term, but let's actually look at, from this experience, how do you use it to iterate, grow, and evolve? So I want you to really look at what were the things that worked from your experiment, this topic that we've been exploring. What is it that worked from it? So whatever you originally wrote, maybe it was the willingness to take action, the willingness to be engaged and learn as you go. What worked from this experiment, from the old failure? What was it? Because you have the courage now to feel it, so you're free of it, right? Freedom to life, not from. To, I'm free enough to feel all of it, okay? Stretching your resilience, your capacity. And then looking at what worked from it so that you can double down on it. So you learn from it to support you in being more successful moving forward. And I received information to refocus. I learned lots of useful information. It was an intro to the work that I do now. Yeah, sometimes the things that break our hearts are the things that teach us the most and the things that we feel called to support other people. That's why I feel so called to help people around worth. By actually embracing the part of me that felt unworthy, I opened to my worth. And I wouldn't have gotten that without that. Beautiful, you guys. Look at what worked and gather that information so you can use it to set you up for more success. Now I want you to look at, also just as important, what didn't work. But without all the shame, without all the drama, what didn't work? And so maybe what didn't work was that you made an assumption. What didn't work was that you didn't ask enough questions, that you outsourced your power to thinking someone else was going to be your savior, right? In relationship and business. No, you have your power. And anyone that's a good coach is going to help you feel that and scale from here. You don't need, it doesn't come from others. It's coming from you. And then you feel it's like, it's about you, not others. And so helping you really feel that is a way to run your business and do relationships in a whole new way. I feel free to have new compassion relationship with myself. So what didn't work was outsourcing your power. Didn't ask enough questions. What didn't work was my inability to communicate clearly. Yeah. What didn't work was like judging myself and criticizing myself, because that just only stunted my growth, right? So I assumed that if you didn't, maybe this is teaching you what didn't work was that failure started taking you out of the game rather than following your dreams, rather than doing the inner work so that you could grow and iterate. So now I want you to write 1 to 3 grounded specific learnings. How do you use what you've just gone through to support you in growing moving forward? So what can you learn from this? So one that I just shared was like, oh, when I judge myself, it stunts my growth. Maybe compassion feels good and is productive. Maybe I don't have to, because oftentimes the critic has a bad rap. It's criticizing you so that then you do better, so that then you're safe. But you can honor the intention of safety without criticizing yourself. Or you don't have to use fear of failure to block yourself and hold yourself back from following your dreams, you can do a process like this to feel your power, learn from it, and keep going and really set yourself up for success. So what can you do moving forward? And what did you learn? Sorry. So what didn't work? Okay. There's a little bit of a delay. So I know you're probably, what are some of the learnings? 1 to 3 learnings. How can you use this to be more successful moving forward? So to release the self-doubt. And how do you do that? At least in my mastery method way, you embrace the energy of self-doubt as a way to overcome it. Okay? Because if you're judging something, you're giving your energy to it, you're pushing it away, but actually that's calling it in. And you're giving it. So you embrace it, you welcome all of it. When I give away my power, it leads me to falling out of alignment with my truth. Good insight. If you had just gotten that, how powerful. I can't be someone else. I'm good as I am. That's right. Center myself to nurture fear, right? You're learning that contraction and expansion, it's all part of it, but you are off the roller coaster. You are what sees all of it, the highs and the lows. Let what comes come, let what goes go, find out what remains. Something in you is way more powerful than any of these highs and lows and circumstantial things. And as you have your real power, which is that when you embody a peace that welcomes all of it, you're unstoppable and you feel more free. So trust myself more and know that there's a way to overcome it. That's right. Yeah. Avoid sacrificing, not being in alignment, embracing the fear. Good, you guys. So good. Okay. So the last one, what are you going to do differently moving forward as a result of this? What are the action steps that you can commit to? And I would encourage you to ground it for, it could be 24 hours, but maybe it was like you hired someone and now you learn to do test projects or before you join a program, you ask questions, or you don't outsource your power. You know that it's in you, the magic's in you. So I allowed others, spouse, to define me. So now you're learning that was just a story you made up in your mind. You're learning boundaries. Good. Mindful eating. So we're all at different places. So what can you do differently moving forward? It will change your life. I want you to type what you'll do differently. And then one practical insight, one of the ahas that you got from this. I want to hear from you. Honoring my time and my skills. I'm going to let go. I let go of me and just being in my truth and my standards, my way of being. I'm allowed to judge, but not try to wrongfully judge myself. Yeah, judgment's allowed. Judgment, it happens anyway. So if you're resisting it, it's not, you're just going to hurt as a result. Suffering happens when you're resisting the moment, hands down. That's it. And we unconsciously think if we resist the moment, then we can change it, but actually you're further trapped by it. Yeah, now is my time. That's right. Good. Okay, good. You guys, overworking, overthinking is not helping. I'll pause to go within instead of looking outside. So if you ever get dysregulated, and this is one of my practices, it's like, learn the inner, but also learn the outer. Take a moment and, there's no ideals of perfection, but take a moment to just be with it for 90 seconds. Neuroscientists have found that it only takes 90 seconds to feel a feeling before it integrates in the body. If you're not, this is the trick that most people don't talk about. You have to feel it as a sensation, not a story. So one practice is if you get dysregulated, maybe before a sales conversation, take a moment to feel the fear of rejection or fear of abandonment, whatever it is, welcome it. And then just show up in service. Don't make it about you. Show up to serve and it will change the game for you. So let's take these lessons and apply them in your lives. Tag me as you're sharing your insights. I want to celebrate you. I love that you are here at day 5. Again, you are the people who show up for yourselves, and you're at a fork in the road where you have either had a lot of fun, gotten a lot of valuable insights, and you're going to go back to your world and do what you do, which is totally fine. I know that immersions are powerful to catapult change. And then we want consistent integration afterwards, because then we don't go back to sleep in our old patterns. So if you're somebody, it's like, I'm loving this, I want more. I want support to have consistent clients, share my gifts, have it be more fun, be called forward by a community, have my personal guidance and support. I know that some of you are like, 5 hours is not enough. I want to go deeper. I want to have the support and the direction to really go all in. And if that's you, I just want to encourage you to comment, apply here on the live or the replay, so that you can say, like, this was the turning point that didn't just change your business, but your entire life. if you feel called to join us in the certification program, I would be honored to hold you in this experience. I want this to be the thing that says this changed everything for me. I hear that year after year. We have hundreds of testimonials. Yes, trust your gut always. And our program is for therapists, healers, leaders, coaches, new and experienced in any niche, people that love personal development work. Somebody was like, I'm a bookkeeper. Yes, we've had realtors, bookkeepers, people that wanted to move in from astrology and yoga, lots of different people. If you want confidence in clients, this is what you walk away with. You change your life. And so you can say apply here or go to alyssanobrega.com/bootcamp. I'll give you a sense that some of our students start experience. So they're doing like $20,000 to $40,000 months at 6 months in. Those are experience. Those are not new. And I've had a few women do 80K months, one that did 8 figures. They did online systems. And then I've had other students, a lot of them are brand new and they're creating clients. They're doing the work that they love and they have wait lists. But it depends on how in action you are and how much you show up for it and where you started. And so this more than any, and I say the money and all of those things because you guys ask for that a lot, but I promise you what you get from this experience is deeper than any amount of money could ever give you. You discover your wholeness. You discover who and what you are beyond anything that's happening in your business. And that reflects in your relationships with your family, with your friends, in your community, with your clients. You embody your inherent worth and value, and you show up as a greater impact in the world as a result. And so I would be honored to hold you in this experience. If you apply, it does not commit you. It's just the first step. We will share with you financing options, the payment plan options. You can have a conversation with our team. And for those of you who are live here today, you could also win the scholarship of $1,000 off. We're going to give 3 away. And so I just want you to know that you could save $1,500 off the program. And you just write prize 5 here and we will send it to you so you can learn details. I attract the best humans. Emily, oh my gosh, Emily says, as a mastery method coach in 2021, I can honestly say that this program and work changed my life. 1000% worth it. Thank you. And I'll bring up some of my students on Monday. You can ask them your questions because I'll have a little bit more time. I'm going to coach you on Monday. Monday at 10 a.m. coaching call, bring your questions. I'll do some grads. You can ask them your questions. And then Wednesday, I'll do more practical. I'm going to do a deep inner process with somebody. You have to be live on Monday to win the one-to-one session with me on Wednesday. Next week, our bonus calls. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing this work that really changes the world, starting with yourself. I can't emphasize your commitment. The fact that you are here on 5 days, like you are going to have massive results in your life and make a bigger impact because of your commitment to yourself, to living more free, to being a beneficial presence in the world. And I'm so happy that you are here. Such a gift, tons of emotions. Thank you so much. I love and enjoy being here. I'm so happy that you guys are here. All right, we're going to go deeper. We're going to have some fun. So join me Monday and Wednesday. But again, you do have to apply today before Sunday end of day to save $500 off on our certification program. We are looking at becoming a master's program through it, but you would have to go through it anyway to be able to find out where we're finalizing those things, hopefully this year. And it works for every type of coach, therapist, healer in any niche. And leaders that really want to go to their next level. So comment, apply, make sure you do that before Sunday end of day. And we will be sending out acceptance letters on Monday at noon. So if you should have gotten a confirmation email from us, if you didn't, if you for sure didn't hear from us by noon on Monday, email support@alyssanobrega.com and we will make sure to take care of you. You are so welcome. You guys are just rock my world. So are the links, all of the links are going to be in the email. Yeah, you'll get the whole brochure so you can see the syllabus, the dates, all of your questions. And yeah, just go to alyssanobrega.com/apply or put apply here on the live or the replay. Again, it doesn't commit you to apply. You're just going to get all of the information. You can get your questions answered. You're welcome to DM me as well. I'm happy to answer and support. I'll do a story so you can ask questions there as well. And what a gift to have you in this community, whether you do it or not with us. I mean, I would be honored to support you in scaling this year. And I just honor you for showing up for yourself. Life meets us at the point of action. Keep showing up for yourself. I'll do other things at some point, and if you stay connected on my email list, you'll hear about it. But I honor you for really making a difference, starting with yourself. That's what we need more in the world now than ever, and you are embodiment of it. Sending you much love.